Oh my goodness. UFC 298 just took place. What an astounding night of fights. The night began with Andrea Lee versus Miranda Maverick, and Maverick won the 3 round decision. Then it was Val Woodburn, who was famous for taking that short notice fight against the upcoming prospect Bo Nickel. He lost that fight, but people thought it was unfair. It was short notice. So this was his time to really shine. And he he has hands of steel, so uh, some people did expect to put Oban Elliott out, and he did land a good punch against the Welshman Oban Elliott in the first round, but Oban Elliott was able to recover and out wrestle or out grapple Val Woodburn for 3 rounds, and Oban Elliott won that fight. Then we also had Zhang Mingyang versus Branson Ribeiro, and Zhang Mingyang landed that knockout punch in the first round, stunning knockout. He called out Alex Pereira after his victory when he was interviewed by Joe Rogan. And to me, that's an interesting fight, but Joe Rogan said, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Then we had Mackenzie Dern versus Lemos, and Lemos won a 3 round decision. We also had Danny Barlow versus Josh Quinlan. The first 2 rounds were very competitive, but in the third round, Danny Barlow was able to land some great knockout punches and put out Josh Quinlan. For the main card, we had Roman Kopylov versus Anthony Hernandez. A lot of people thought Kopylov was a great underdog and picked him to win. But Anthony Hernandez, man, he's just ferocious. Like John Anik said, or he said he might not be the strongest or the fastest, but he has the most heart, and he was able to impose his will, impose his wrestling, and he got the submission in the second round. Then we had Henry Cejudo versus what's the name of the Georgian guy again? Oh yeah, Mirab Davashvili. And Henry landed a good punch in the first round. In the first round, Mirab chose to strike with Henry a bit, and it seems like the judges gave Henry the first round, although it was so Henry did get the first round, but then second and third round, Mirab just straight up ragdolled him. Like he picked Cejudo up and carried him to the end of the cage, reminiscent of when Khamzat Chimaev took, who was it? Was it Kevin Lee? No, when he took that Chinese guy to the end of the cage to show off to Dana White. Mirab did an equivalent thing. He picked up Cejudo, ran to the end of the cage, but it was for Mark Zuckerberg's eyes, not for Dana White's, which was pretty funny. He had fun putting up a show for Mark Zuckerberg. Then we had Ian Machado Gary versus Jeff Neal. A lot of MMA YouTubers were picking Jeff Neal to land the knockout punch, but I knew that Ian Gary would be smart enough to keep the distance and capable enough to keep the distance and avoid that big punch from Jeff Neal and get the decision, and I was right. Ian Gary won by decision. Then we had Paulo Costa versus Robert Whittaker. Great fight. Paulo Costa landed a phenomenal backwards kick on Robert Whittaker's head at the end of the first round, and Robert Whittaker did the dance, the drunken dance that you do when some fighters get knocked out at the end of the round. But after that, he had a minute to recover, and the second and third rounds, Robert Whittaker just had half a level more technique than Costa, so the judges were able to, even though the rounds were really close, his technique was like a half a level higher. He did half a level more things with leg kicks and heel kicks and punches. Even though Costa had some moments, I think Whittaker did a bit more, and that was the right decision. And oh my God, for the main event of the evening. Alexander Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria. Damn. Ilia Topuria and Volkanovski, the first round was pretty competitive. Not some stuff happened, but not much. There was an even amount of strikes. The judges actually gave the first round to Volkanovski, and in the second round, oh my goodness, what a phenomenal knockout punch by Topuria on Volkanovski, and Volkanovski was out cold, and he didn't recover immediately. It took him like a few seconds for Volkanovski to recover, so it was a pretty brutal blow. And yeah, man, who is Ilia Topuria going to fight next? Is it going to be Volkanovski? Volkanovski asked for a rematch in Spain. Is it going to be Conor McGregor? Is it going to be Movsar Evloev? He says he doesn't want to fight Yair Rodriguez or what's his name? The Mexican guy that almost choked out Volkanovski. Brian Ortega, so he doesn't want to fight them. So who do you guys think Topuria is going to fight next? But man, Topuria is an exciting champion. He looks to be just as dominant as Volkanovski, but with knockout power in his punches. He's like a knockout power version of Volkanovski. Of course, the fighting style is different and stuff. Volkanovski throws a lot more leg kicks and mixes it up, but like Topuria says, he's better than everyone at everything, and he did show that today. So how does he look against Movsar Evloev? How does he look against even Sean O'Malley wants to come up and fight Topuria? So is Topuria versus Sean O'Malley next? Man, I'm really interested in what his next fight will be. Amazing night. Like and subscribe.